I call this meeting to order of the South Reference School District at 6:30. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Baker, would you call roll, please?
Sure. Nisha Early.
Present.
Stephen Baker present. Cheryl Flesher.
Present.
Laurie Hicks.
Present.
Daniel Winston.
Present.
Amanda Flesher.
Present.
Shirley Caliber.
Present. Next item on the agenda is the approval of agenda. Doesn't look like I have anything. The agenda will be as printed. Next item on the agenda is recognition of people and programs. Mr. Gardens.
Madam President, I do not have anything for tonight.
Are you serious? Next item on the agenda, do you have any communications?
I do not have any tonight.
Oh, all right. Anyone on the board?
It's a long agenda.
Madam
Wow,
President,
yes.
I have one. We talk a lot about process here in the district, and so this is a process question. We've gotten an email, all of us have gotten an email from Mr. Winston, and then you wrote on the 18th if we had any questions or concerns. I was out of state.
Okay.
I was out of state, and so I wrote on the 21st, and then I resent it on the 23rd, and then resent it on the 25th, and I haven't heard back from you.
I ask you to call me. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. Topics related to the agenda. Do we have any? Next item on the agenda is Plus Delta Plan for Improvement. Ms. Davidson?
Madam President, from the previous meetings, specifically on February 14th, that the MLI format was concise and accurate, and Dr. Weber and Mr. Leopa's help during the search process was much appreciated, and there were no deltas.
No doubt.
Correct. There were no
Okay.
deltas.
I didn't hear you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the consent agenda?
To the chair,
Yes?
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have a support? Do I have a support?
I need support.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Thank you. It's been moved by Ms. Fletcher, supported by Ms. Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the SREA, SROPA, and SRF Board Communications. Mr. Bill, you want to start it off?
Okay. You can throw my thing.
Mr. Dyer, is that separate?
Yeah, that's related. So
That's-
you could throw
these
that
are
away.
the same thing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. I just told Chris, so. I just want you guys to know that I'm wearing all black because at Thurston High School today, at the last day of Black History Month, all our staff members wore all black in recognition of all the great African-American leadership and people that we've had for a number of years, including in our district and beyond. So that's why I'm dressed the way I am, just so you know. So, and again, I brought my computer up because I'm not reading very well. So. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak tonight. Hopefully, I know we've seen a lot of each other, so I appreciate you giving me the chance again to speak, because I just wanted to basically clear the air as far as just moving forward with the board members and Mr. Bobrovetsky, of course. So, we've spoken about this.
We have.
So just things that I wrote here, I appreciate if you just hear me out. So thank you again, once again, for allowing me, as a representative of the SREA, the time and space to share our concerns, points of pride, and updates during your regularly scheduled board meetings. So I appreciate you putting us back on the agenda. So many thanks to you for that. So recently, the SREA Executive Board attempted to meet with all the board members prior to your decision regarding the new superintendent. Some of you were willing to meet and hear our concerns expressed by the Executive Board on behalf of our membership. Thanks to all of you that were willing to do that. We appreciate that. Despite the numerous SREA concerns around the internal candidates, the board acted to move forward with the hiring of Mr. Bobrovetsky. Since your decision to extend an offer of employment to Mr. Bobrovetsky, a large number of SREA members have expressed concerns about the decision and the fact that an external search was not conducted. Once this decision was made to extend an offer of employment to Mr. Bobrovetsky, the SRE wanted to be transparent, so I shared the same concerns on the phone and in a meeting with Mr. Bobrovetsky. So we had a lengthy meeting and we had a lengthy phone call, and I will share that Mr. Bobrovetsky was very open and very willing to listen, and I would characterize our meeting as a very productive meeting. So please know on that behalf too as well, the SREA will not undermine the potential for any one of our employees in this district to not be successful. To the contrary, we will continue to work with each other every day to create opportunities for our students, our families, and the community that we serve. So recently, and I'll share with you what I also shared with Mr. Bobrovetsky in our meeting, recently it's been rumored that the South Redford School District Board has been looking to potentially hire an outside firm to handle our upcoming contract negotiations for our members. It's our position that the board should carefully consider the financial costs involved with the decision. As well, an opportunity will be missed, we feel, by not having the new leader of the district lead the negotiations, which he is certainly qualified to do. This is an opportunity to show that the South Redford School District Administration and the board acknowledge our concerns and value our service. We do have faith that negotiations will be handled with the utmost attention that will be needed given this current teaching climate. It is true that many teachers will retire this year. It is also true that teachers are now able to go to other school districts and make more money. Right now, currently, as I looked the other day, we had 9 openings that we have yet to fill, and obviously there are going to be more to come. So securing a contract worked out amongst ourselves that improves our wages, hours, and working conditions would be a big win-win for all parties. And as always, I want to share, together, we can make South Redford great. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
SROPA, Sue,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. It's been a while. I heard from a few buildings for some communications. I'll start with mine, which is no longer a building, it's a I'm just gonna speak on my department. It's been a busy year in the Student Services Department, as always, but this year we started the year out with our move from Shear over to Pierce. So it was even busier at the beginning of the year. Although we were nervous about the move, we loved it here at Shear. We really do like our new office. They did a great job creating our space. They listened to us in designing the offices, and it really is, it's very nice. If you haven't seen it, you should come over and see it, because they did a great job, and the Pierce staff has been very welcoming to us, so we're very happy about that. Right now I'm in the midst of the special ed count period, so that's very, very busy. Fisher, the media tech, Betsy Lepak, reached out and said that she's excited to have several guest readers coming down to the Media Center for March Reading Month. Pierce, Rosanna Goodwin reports that things are going great at Pierce. She says, We are seeing some of our students' faces for the first time, and they look amazing. The students are happy to be here in the building with their peers and teachers. Our administrators are doing a great job helping ease the new mask rules, and teachers are doing an outstanding job getting our students back on track from all the virtual learning. Our clerical staff is doing an amazing job helping parents and students with a smile. We are ecstatic to be getting back to some sort of normalcy. Jefferson reported, Morgan, that Jefferson has become a Title I school this year. They're starting several after-school clubs as part of the program. Morgan has been placing a lot, in capital letters, of orders to get everything up and running, in addition to organizing the materials for those clubs. Now, I didn't know she was coming with me tonight, so I added some stuff to her little thing without knowing she was going to be here. So I said, I have to say, she goes above and beyond to make things cute, welcoming in her office. I don't know where she gets that from, maybe. You know, her mother loves to decorate her office, so. But she has organized all of the materials that came in, split them up into the different clubs, and went out and bought the rolling tubs for them, and then just created all these cute little designs to go on them. They have a Lego club and a math games club and social club, and the tubs are just super cute. Very kid friendly. And as part of the Title I program, they're also starting after-school tutoring, and the tutors are Thurston students who are now EduStaff employees. So that's very exciting. We've had a lot of movements and additions to our group this year. Rosanna Goodwin took over as the Pierce Principal Secretary. Sherry Wilson moved from the Fisher Media Tech position over to the Pierce front office. She's very welcoming there in the front office. She's doing a great job. Sterling Felix is the new Pierce Media Tech. Taylor Naylor is the new Fisher Media Tech. And Angela Naylor, Taylor's mom, is the new district clerk. So a lot of changes. We do have one concern from the group as a whole, and it is the concern about the pupil accounting position. I know this is not just a clerical concern, and we'll be talking more about this, Jason. We've gone through a lot of changes in this position since Kathy Snyder's has left, about to go through another change, and we have had several Zoom training sessions with Johnny and his support over at RISA, which have brought up several concerns with the group. We also have one-on-one communications with them. I have had a lot because of the special ed component, and it's just a big concern. As I said, I know this is not just the clerical concern. And those are all of my communications. Any questions or comments?
I have one.
Yeah.
What is the EduServe?
EduStaff?
Yes.
EduStaff is the contracted company that hires all of our monitors and all of our teachers are EduStaff employees. All of the subs are EduStaff employees. So anybody that's going to be hired into the district that's not a South Redford hire either goes through EduStaff or another contracted company. We have several contracted companies that go through our office right now with a lot of different special ed teachers, social workers, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, all through contracted companies. But EduStaff is the biggest one that the district works with. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here from South Redford Foundation? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the presentation of Adams Elementary School.
Thank you. Little different being here. It's always exciting, and sorry we won't have PTO feasting for you because usually we serve you with a wonderful meal, and they were very bummed they couldn't come over and do that here. But we are very excited to share with you some exciting things. So happy to be back face to face and have our children back and have them learning with us after this long journey. So I'm going to turn it over immediately to a couple of staff members who are going to share some exciting things that are happening. So I'm going to first turn it over to Natalie Schaefer, second grade teacher over at Adams, and she's going to start off for us tonight. So Natalie's going to take it away for us.
Are you clicking?
Yes. Do you want to click?
I can click, sure. Okay. Hi, I'm Natalie Schaefer. As Michelle mentioned, I'm a second grade teacher at Adams. And I'm going to be presenting to you some of the benefits that we've seen since being back face-to-face, some of the things that we weren't able to do virtually, that it's been really wonderful to be able to participate in. So let's see, is that going to work? Maybe. Okay. So first of all, we've been working, I know you've talked a lot about social emotional learning with some of the other schools, and we're going to present some on that as well. But some of the social emotional learning has allowed us to get to the place where we're able to meet the needs, the academic needs the students are having as well. So one of the things we're really working on this year is differentiation, which means meeting the differing needs of our students. And you can actually see that's me on the left with my class. And every class is doing differentiation differently because it's the needs of your own class. And one of the things we're able to do is we're able to meet in smaller groups using our grade level paraprofessionals. So in my classroom, it looks like our interventionist takes a group, my paraprofessional's working with a group, I'm working with a group, and we have a group utilizing technology at a leveled program that they're using. And we're working on phonics things and filling in some of the gaps that they've missed with COVID. And it's been really wonderful to be able to work with them face to face and have that opportunity to meet their individual needs that might not match our grade level instruction. And you can see we also do the same with math, and it just depends on the needs of that particular class. We've also been able to participate in library checkout and specials, gym, art, music, and those things weren't able to happen the same virtually, and to bring those non-academic joys back to our kids, it's been so exciting to foster that love of reading, to get them excited about the books they're reading. So that's been really exciting to come back to. We've also been able to implement partner reading more faithfully, which is part of our reading program, is this partner reading process where they're supporting, encouraging, coaching one another and helping them through their words. And that was really difficult to do virtually. It's really hard to do that. And this is a way that they can kind of guide their own learning and take charge of their own learning a little bit. And those are actually some of my students working with each other in the intervention room. And as I mentioned, technology is actually still a big part of our day because they've all learned so much while we were virtual that we were able to bring it back into the classroom. So we use differentiated programs. We're using research on the computers. My students were researching for Black History Month and doing the research that way. And we're still able, I think most classrooms are still incorporating technology daily. We're also able to do all the hands-on art projects, writing, the things that maybe we didn't get as much of an experience with when we were virtual. This is one of our kindergarten classrooms that learned about Mae Jemison, and they did some writing and a craft to go with it, and it was all very hands-on, tactile. And of course, the cooperative learning, being able to do hands-on, being able to work with groups. This is where we're seeing that social emotional learning coming into play again, with the sharing, with the getting along with one another, with the cooperating and participating with one another. We're doing our math workstations. We're able to do reading small groups, all those sorts of things. And I think our next slide shows some more examples of that. You can see they're able to explore with the materials and kind of gain that knowledge for themselves, instead of virtually where a lot of it was given to them. They're able to discover for themselves now. Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Kat Liggett, who's going to talk a little bit more about the social emotional learning piece.
Hey everyone, it's so good to see you in person. I'm certainly not a new face in the neighborhood, but I haven't had the pleasure of meeting some of you. So I am Kat Liggett. I'm the instructional coach at Adams Elementary, and it's my pleasure to talk about some social emotional learning with you tonight. I know you've met with a couple other buildings, and they've shared all the wonderful, awesome things that they are doing Tonight I'm going to put a little tweak to that sharing, and I invite you to take a virtual video walk into 2 classrooms where social emotional instruction is happening. And I'm going to challenge you to really focus on the teaching and what the teacher is doing. And that's going to be real hard because there's a lot of cuteness happening in these videos. But I really want you to watch the video and see what you see and hear what you hear in the instruction of this important learning, social emotional. So we're going to start with the kindergarten classroom. We won't be watching the video in its entirety because I want to stop and see what you see and see what you hear. So I might just have to click if you don't mind.
You want me to move so you can
Yeah,
click
you're
where you
gonna, yeah.
want? I can move.
So we'll start with the kindergarten classroom. This is Michelle Persicchini's room.
Very good. All right, good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. I'm so excited today because I have Alex and Joey here, and I know you guys are going to help them remember some conflict solvers. Hi, Caleb. I'm over here, friend. Thank you. Let's look at that. I can statement, which you know Mrs. Persicchini likes to put we can because we're a classroom full of learners that work together, right? So this says we can use conflict solvers to avoid conflict and be good friends. Give me a thumbs up if you want to do that. You're doing so well on this. And this morning, Joey and Alex, they were bouncing around and they have this bag here, and I want you to help them remember the 5, can you show me 5 with your fingers? The 5 conflict solvers that are going to help us avoid conflict and be good friends. All right. This is Persicchini. Right over here. So we remember why we're doing this. And we're going to see if we can help them remember. Oh, I'm so excited, boys and girls. Can you help me remember the 5 conflict solvers? Remember, a conflict's kind of like a fight. And do we want to have fights with our friends at school? No. No. All right. Let me see. Raise your hand if you think you can help Alex and Joey remember a conflict solver that can help them. Which one you remember, Daddy? Taking turns. Taking turns. Let's give her a brilliant. Can you give her a brilliant cheer? Brilliant. Taking turns. We always want to take turns. And that was one that was in the bag. All right, Joey, we're going to put that by you. Okay. How about another one? Delon, I love how you raised your hand. Taking turns. Taking turns, that's right. Shine your halo, Delon. You remembered the one that we were just talking about. Good boy. How about a different one? Maybe remember Christian.
I remember the new idea.
A new idea? What does that mean, Christian?
That means you could do something else.
You could do something else if you don't agree. Let's give Christian a firecracker cheer. Good job.
Okay, let's stop for a second. So now I'm going to ask, you can shout it out, what did you see? What did you hear in that awesome instruction?
Engaging the kids.
That they know the conflicts.
So did you see the community, the circle?
Yes.
That's very symbolic, right? Did you notice the learning target? It gave a purpose, a why behind the learning, and it's right there the whole time for the kids to know why they're doing what they're doing. The cheers, aren't those cute? And I don't know if you caught it, but did you see the subtle integration of math?
Yes.
5 fingers, 5 conflict solvers. So let's move on to the next piece. Keep watching, keep listening. All right. Where is it? Here we go.
Lanaya.
Get help.
Get help. What does that mean?
That means I was gonna say.
You were thinking alike. Good job.
Get help means your teacher is on the means for. Oh, you're okay. So
I-
okay. You up.
get help? Maybe,
The teacher.
well, that's who you can get help from. So getting help would be like if you really already tried to share and it just wasn't working out. Sometimes we might need to go to our teacher, an adult, or maybe even another friend to help us, right? Great job. Which cheer do you want?
I want the great carpet.
Oh, the cheese grater. Let's give her the cheese grater. You're great. Excellent. Oh, I have
Okay. So anything else that you see or notice here in that teaching and learning? Okay, so how about the engagement? We're in a class of 28 5-year-olds and we're at 3 minutes and 36 seconds into instruction, which is like an eternity for a 5-year-old. And look at what they're doing. Complete engagement.
Roaming around.
Yeah, right. And in particular, when I was in there, I heard questioning from the teacher. It wasn't her telling the kids. She was questioning them and bringing in the learning so that they own it. So one more thing from kindergarten. And this is actually my favorite. Wow, I need my glasses. That is teeny tiny.
going to do this one, which is sweet.
Or sit down cheer.
The sit down cheer. Do you remember it? How's it go? Na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey hey hey, good job. All right, let's review them. Say taking turns. New idea. Share. Get help. Apologize. All right, now let's do a quick.
All right, she goes into doing like a scenario with the kids and they have to problem solve that scenario. But think about how powerful this is in just 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So 5 minutes, all that just happened to set the stage for that learning during the day.
That's great.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Our second video walk is in a 3rd grade classroom, so older children. Oh, Kathy. And this is the classroom of Julie Marsh. I may have to adjust the audio because it was like a very rainy day and a fan was going and it's a little.
Morning, boys and girls. We're going to start today by looking at our marble jump. So how was our day yesterday and what does our marble jump say? So kids, why don't you think back to yesterday and reflect on how did we keep all 6 marbles yesterday as a class? What are some things that were going on yesterday? What do you think? London, what's one thing that you think happened yesterday that we were able to keep all 6 of our marbles?
One thing for me that happened yesterday, that we were able to keep all 6 marbles, was probably because of the lockers. We were really quiet during the lockers, but we weren't last time.
Okay, what did you hear happening there?
Well, they remembered from yesterday.
Yeah, well, reflection. She had them reflect on what happened yesterday to make a connection to get their day started that day. I'm going to fast forward to another part of this 3rd grade classroom.
Our goal is that we have empathy to all classmates and we stop and think and use a filter. And we had a big talk yesterday about what that needs to look like and sound like in our classroom because of something that was written on a note to someone that kind of hurt somebody's feelings. And so how did it go yesterday with stop and think and using a filter? How did that go yesterday? medium. So we got some no's. So nothing solid. Okay, Andre, tell me about how it went for you. What do you think?
I think it went better. So when you give the picture to everyone, I think that they really realized that they should try and do better.
So you think by seeing the picture of what was written and people saw that was kind of very eye-opening to people, and a lot of people were like, whoa, yeah, that's not okay. And we have to really think about stop and think. What does stop and think mean to you? What does that mean? That's one of our really big strategies, because that's part of our goal about #filter. Well, what does stop and think mean to you, Briley? So stop and think about what you're doing before you say something, before you write a note on somebody's paper.
Okay, so something that you saw her do, what did you see her do?
She was teaching the students how to respect each other.
And did you see her do this?
Yep, stop and
Yep, stop and think strategy. The kids are now at the point where they don't even need the words. Like let's say they're walking in the hall and something starts to brew, the teacher just needs to do, and the kids like check themselves, right? So that was an important strategy. And the goal setting, I know it was a little fuzzy to hear, but she does a masterful job of setting goals for the kids. Kindergarten had that learning target, they know the why behind their learning. These guys had goals they're working toward. The stop and think strategy, empathy, hashtag, I love it. So, I mean, just the power of having a goal. The last little snippet I just want to show you because I love the connection and the way that she closes her lesson. Thank you for your patience as I blind myself. Oh, yeah. Hard to keep it on the line. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, having empathy if somebody's alone and looking like they want to, go and ask, hey, do you want to join us? That can be part of empathy too. That's part of the Eagle Way about being a leader and just including everybody at school. We're all friends at school. Everybody plays. And you include everybody. I agree with that, Jonathan. Thank you. So yesterday, great day. Really super day.
So did you hear the Eagle Way? That's what I wanted you to hear. All right, so thank you for taking that virtual journey with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And just think, you guys, how lucky these kids are to have those teachers create that community and that learning environment to start their day every day. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. So before I leave you and we continue to focus on SEL or social emotional well-being, we have to remember that we're not just doing that focus of SEL for our students. We also need to be mindful to do it for our teachers and our grown-ups. The pandemic has challenged us all, for sure. Teaching on a good day is hard. And teachers have navigated the challenges of remote and back face-to-face and COVID protocols, trauma, personal illness. It has been a hard go. And sometimes I see that fatigue on them. And here's what happens is they're working so hard because they recognize that their job is so important. But when they get so deep into the work, they don't always catch the little celebrations or the little pieces of success that happen. And when they don't get that, that's when you start to get the weariness and like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. So I have really challenged myself this year through my coaching to find and create opportunities to bring those little celebrations and success to their attention. Love notes in their mailbox. Sometimes I just go in and give them a hug in the morning. elbow bump, like, hey, did you just see what that kid did? That was awesome. Because maybe they missed it. They're so busy, you know, doing what they do. Finding opportunities for staff to celebrate each other. Erin Johnson did a cool activity at our staff meeting the other day. You know, the old kick me sticker that you put on someone's back? Well, it didn't say kick me. We had this thing on our back, and teachers were able to put sticky notes of appreciation and celebration to everybody. I thought that was so awesome. Michelle Hubbard's like creating extra time. It's called Tag Me on Friday, Tag Your It, giving teachers a little extra time for taking a breath, right? So I wanted to bring attention to how we're also addressing the social emotional health of our staff at Adams. And that brings me to my last social emotional piece, and that is you. I appreciate you for all the support that you continue to have in these difficult times for our schools. And so as a token of appreciation, we have a little goodie bag for you. And there are two things in this bag. The first thing is a tea bag, which is stress relief comfort tea. So it's there when you need it. The second thing in this bag is a little card with an inspirational saying on it. Full disclosure, the card is a regift. Christine Hofer actually gave us these box of cards, and the intent is each day you open a card and there's an inspirational saying, kind of get you started. And that really became part of my practice over the last year or so. I've been through that box several times. And just recently I was getting ready to talk with a teacher, and I'm like, oh, I have the perfect card to share with her. And when I did, I was like, oh, that is brilliant. Because here's the thing, words of wisdom need to be shared, not kept in a box. So you're getting a card with words of wisdom on it. And however it speaks to you, maybe it makes you stop and ponder, maybe it makes you smile, maybe it makes you think and appreciate something with gratitude before you get your day started. We appreciate you, and thank you very much. And I will turn things over to Michelle Hubbard.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah, we get it up, baby.
Pass these out before we finish.
You are most welcome.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you. So, thank you to both Kat and Natalie for presenting, and both are, their hard work. And thank you to, they're not all here tonight because we tried to keep the crowd, but the hard work and dedication of all of the staff. They have been through a lot. We know that the pandemic has been hard on everybody. But the continued work that the staff does to come in every day and provide what they do for our kids is amazing. And to walk the halls and to watch the kids learning and growing, and the work that the teachers are doing every single day, the ups and the downs and the back and forth from remote to face, back to remote, they do it, and they do it with passion, and our kids are better for it. So thank you to the staff. Even though they're not here, if they were here, I'd be looking at them and telling them thank you. So the last little part of the presentation is a little bit harder to do, but I could not end tonight without paying tribute to family. Adams is a family. We walk through that door every day and we talk about family, and we are family. We lean on each other, we go through ups and downs together, and we look to each other for everything that we do in that building. So I do want to take just a few minutes to pay tribute publicly to two very special people. First of all, Deb Daniels. In 2016, Deb joined Adams with her granddaughter. She brought her granddaughter and registered her as a student, and started, volunteering and, can I help? Can I be here? I'm like, yeah, come on in. And she was there every day and just helping with the kids in the lunchroom and walking the halls with us. And finally, I'm like, Deb, you need to get paid. Come on board. Like, here's the EduStaff paperwork. You're here all the time. Just why don't you become, a team member? There's no reason. You're here all the time. So Deb, did the paperwork, and she became part of our team every day. And she started working in the lunchroom and was there with the kids, and she started hanging out even more. And I'm like, Deb, why don't you do the morning time too? You're here anyways. And so Deb started doing the morning She was the face that everyone saw. Every morning as cars pulled up, she was opening doors, she was greeting our families, she was saying hello to our children, she was welcoming our late students, she then walked the halls, she stayed for lunch, and there were days where Deb's health wasn't great. And I'd say, Deb, are you sure you want to stay? And she's like, oh, I'm not going home. These are my kids. I'm not leaving, Michelle. And I'd say, okay, well, just take a seat, and Deb wouldn't leave. Deb was there every year. Every year she's come back in the fall. Do I still have a job? Yeah, Deb, you have a job. You are family. So Deb spent every year with us, working with our kids. Everybody loved her. Miss Deb, Miss Deb, Miss Deb. That's all I ever heard was Miss Deb. And even this year, as we came back in the fall, Jordan went over to Pierce. So her granddaughter was now over at Pierce. And Deb came back in the fall and said, can I still work? And I said, absolutely, Miss Deb. We wouldn't be family without you here. So Deb joined us again, and every day, whether it was raining, whether it was snowing, Deb was the face that the parents saw, that the kids saw. She was family. Sadly, on Christmas Day, Deb went to her rest. She battled COVID. She battled hard. She will be missed every single day. But she is forever an eagle with us, and we owe everything to what she has done, because she became family and will always be family. So we love her, and I needed to make sure that we paid tribute to Deb. The next person, for those who don't know, but I think a lot of people do know, Mr. Jason Phillips. I will never forget, I started working in this district in 2012 when I was hired, and Jason, didn't know him until he walked through the door to register his kindergartner. He lived in the north end of the community, and he walked in and registered Brooklyn, and he said, with coffee in hand, I don't drink coffee, but Miss Chris does, he had coffees in his hand as he came in to register, and he said, I'm here to register my kindergartner because I heard this is the place to go. And I said, it is. Welcome aboard. And so that was the first time I ever met Jason. He was excited to join the South Redford family because that's where he chose to come. So he registered Brooklyn, and from that day forward, he became an eagle. Every day. Every day he was at Adams. Whether it was parking lot, whether it was shoveling the snow if they needed a little extra help out on the sidewalk, whether it was just walking the halls, high-fiving kids, he became an everyday person that the kids saw, that the staff saw, that I saw. He became the face of Adams. Next slide, please. So in January of 2013, so the middle of my first year, I looked at Jason and I said, hey, I heard about this great program called the Watchdog Program. It's a national program. We don't have it here in South Redford, and I want to try it. It's about getting dads involved. And he looked at me and said, I want to do it. I said, you don't even know what it is yet. He said, I don't care, I want to do it. Dads, it's dads. I said, okay, Jay, help me get it started. And so we launched the Watchdog Program in 2013, and Jay just flew with it. So he took off with the first Watchdog Program that we started, and he became the top dog, flew with it, got dads involved, did every fundraiser. You can see we were kind of crazy together. He was like, hey, I'll take the silly string, I'll take the paintballs out, or whatever you need me to do. This is where I belong. Next slide. He was everywhere. Parking lot, daddy-daughter dances, in the classroom with kids. He spent almost every single day at Adams. He put together the community football game with all the dads. He put together the community basketball game. He put together the variety shows. He then went over to Pierce and started working on getting the program going at Pierce. His vision was that our dads were represented in this community. His vision was that every child, whether they had an active dad or not, they knew him as a dad they could turn to. Every child at Adams knew who Mr. Phillips was. Every child got a hug, fist bump. Every child knew that Mr. Phillips was walking the hallways. Every teacher knew that Mr. Phillips was walking the hallway. Jason will be dearly missed. Deb will be dearly missed. Excellent. So just a reminder, they are forever in our hearts, forever Eagles. In the spring, you will be invited. We will be doing a dedication. We will have something at Adams for both of them so that they are never forgotten, because it's people like these who make Adams family every day. Our staff, our parents, our kids, they make Adams the school that it is. We are a family over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now we'll have a break for about 10 minutes.
So I'll do it on top.
I call this meeting back to order at 7:30. Next item on the agenda, Steve, you want?
It's been our habit to typically excuse you all if you would like to. You are obviously more than welcome to stay as long as you want. We'll close the doors when we leave, but if you all want to leave, you're certainly welcome to it with no harm feelings.
You brought snacks.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is consider amendment to general appropriations for the 21-22 school year. That is, Brian.
Thank you, Madam President. So each year, we bring at least one amendment to the board as we get into the year. Certainly when the board does a budget for the upcoming year, there's some things we don't know. We don't know the number of students. We don't know how much, sometimes we don't know how much the state is going to give us per pupil, how many pupils are going to show up, all of those things. Certainly this year has been a year like no other, both in terms of challenges, but also in terms of revenues. And so, Linda Earl, our finance director, is going to walk us through this year's amendment. So I turn it over to Finance Director Earl.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So everyone should have a copy of the presentation. And I will also be flipping the slides up here. I will go through each of the slides. I don't want to sit here and read the slides for you because that's fairly redundant, but I will go over the high points and talk about, and if you have any questions as I go along, by all means, ask. So as Brian mentioned, it has been another year of trying to navigate the pandemic and everything that goes into navigating that. The one thing that has maintained some consistency is the financial situation here at South Redford. It has remained strong. At the end of last school year, we saw the bond initiative pass and an influx of money there that's going to fund all of our building projects. And we also saw an influx, a great deal of money coming in through ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 in the line of COVID recovery. This slide here is a detail of the revenues that are coming into the district. The first column is the actual final audited numbers for the end of fiscal year 21. The second column is the original budget that was approved in June. The third column is what the amendment is detailing for tonight. As you can see, we are projecting total revenues in the amount of $52,499,649. So there are mostly gains, but there are some reductions in the revenue categories. In the area of local revenue, we're seeing a reduction of $446,259, and that's mostly due to reduced athletics admissions, preschool and latchkey fees that are reduced, a reduction in charitable donations, a reduction in rentals. Pay to play was taken off of the table, so you'll see a reduction in that this year. All of that went into the reduction of the $449,000. State revenues, we're projecting an increase of $602,590. We had budgeted in the original budget for an increase to $8,611 per pupil foundation, but that was actually increased to $8,700. The budget revision does reflect a loss of students, 20 students, which isn't huge. It's a natural swing. Increases to the state revenue include, but not limited to, again, the foundation allowance, $54,000. We're projecting an increase in special ed of $243,000. 31A, we saw an increase of $127,000, and early childhood literacy of $50,000. Federal revenue is really where we saw the biggest gains that we're projecting. Title I, we're projecting an increase of $60,862. Title II increased by $10,880. We applied and are receiving childhood preschool grant, and that was in the amount of $334. Additional revenue came in the form of ESSER funds. ESSER 2, we had credit recovery for summer school, $46,000, an 8-week extended summer school under ESSER 2 as well, $331,000. ESSER 2, which is a completely separate chunk of money, $2,878,770, and an increase of $104,000 over the original budget. And then ESSER 3, $4,310,206. That was an increase of $1,300,000. We also saw slight increases at the county and other revenues of a little over $12,000. Along with the net increase in revenues, we're also projecting an increase in expenditures, a net increase of $2,065,360. Again, this slide demonstrates or details the original budget, or I'm sorry, the actual audited budget in the first column, the original budget in the second column, and the third column is what we're projecting for our amendment. Overall, again, we're looking at an increase in expenditures of $2,065,000. Of that, however, we are seeing decreases in some areas. There's a decrease in instruction of $254,000. Under basic programs, we're seeing a decrease of $219,000, and added needs, a decrease of $34,000. Under support services, there are several subcategories under support services. Of that, we're seeing some increases and some decreases. Under the items that we're seeing increases is pupil support, $413,000. Instructional staff, we're seeing an increase of $411,000, and that's due to increased staffing raises, staff benefits. General administration, we're seeing an increase of $28,000, again attributed to wages and benefits. Operations and maintenance, we're seeing a net increase of $1,385,186. And again, this is largely due to the ESSER dollars that we are seeing come in, and those being allocated to potential repairs and replacement of HVAC equipment, but also a dedicated contracted HVAC person that comes on site, is dedicated to South Redford, and helps with the repairs and the replacements. Central office, we're seeing an increase of $150,000 due to technology purchases and share time expenses. And then just a small increase to athletics of a little over $6,000. Moving on to, with support services, we also saw some decreases. School administration, we're seeing a decrease of almost $43,000. And this is due to the fact that we still have some staffing positions that are left vacant. Business services decreased by just under $4,000. Pupil transportation, a decrease of just under $14,000. And community services decreased of just under $15,000. So with the influx of the ESSER II and the ESSER III dollars, these grants are very detailed and very large, many line items. And so what we decided to do was to kind of give you some highlights of the ESSER II and ESSER III dollars and how the money from those two grants are going to be spent. So currently, under ESSER II dollars, we have allocated money, $517,000 to 25 parapros. We've allocated money towards 6th assignment, and this is where we're plugging the hole with the lack of subs. These teachers who are already working really hard are graciously, serving as substitutes when needed in the buildings. Instructional services, $608,000. This is for staff development, contracted coaching support, committee rate compensation. We purchased 11 Clevertouch boards. We purchased iMacs. We have $65,000, just under $65,000 allocated for K-12 transportation for after-school programs. Monitor compensation for additional support during the day, $126,000. And then pupil support services for counselors, high school recovery, speech services, summer school monitoring for $57,000. ESSER III is a larger pot of money. With that, we're funding 2 remote teachers with their salary and benefits for $255,000. Laptops for all the teachers in the district, almost $150,000. Scientific calculators for student use, COVID mitigating supplies, improvements to the community food distribution site. We've hired music teachers, math interventionists, their salary and benefits, $468,000. After school tutors, compensation and benefits, $192,000. Again, here's the HVAC repair and replacement, $1.95 million. And then we've actually, in the grant, we've written in for 2 contracted individuals to support the HVAC repairs and improvements, $374,000. Currently, we only have 1 person contracted in that position. And then student assessments are being funded through this as well. So that leads us to our ending financial position. Overall, we are projecting to add $460,152 to the fund balance at the end of the school year. That will give us a 19.99% fund balance, expenditures over revenues. We also have the luxury of a sinking fund, and that's been very beneficial for the district. It is scheduled to expire this year, and there are already plans underway to get that on the ballot in May to renew that. Our current balance in the bank is $2,462,080, and of that, 1.8 is allocated towards the SOAR renovation project, and that leaves roughly about $627,000. Some of the things that we've been able to use the sinking fund dollars for, in fiscal year ~22 are site improvements to Thurston, the football field, track, concrete repairs, and various other building repairs over at Thurston. That's $788,000. Architectural services for SOAR, building renovations across the district at several of the buildings, and renovations, and then repairs across the district as well. Of the balance, the $627,000, that is currently earmarked to help renovate and rejuvenate and get us ready to open the auto shop and to relocate the wrestling room that's currently being displaced by the auto shop. And that's all I have. Is there any questions?
This would be more toward Mr. Golder. Where's the wrestling room being relocated to, and do we have a wrestling program?
We do have a wrestling program. As a matter of fact, one of our wrestlers is going to, well, I'm going to go back 2 weeks ago, they won the district championship, beating RU in the finals to move on to regionals, and they didn't make it through regionals to the state tournament. But we do have a wrestler moving on to be wrestling in Kalamazoo. He's in the top 16 in the state right now, and you know, he can only go up from there. So yes, we do have a program, and you know, a solid program. So the current wrestling's really never had a home. It gets bounced around, and it's a hard, you know, because of the way Thurston's laid out. There isn't a place for it. Back in my day, we wrestled down in the little gym. That's not a weight room, so I got displaced, and I'm not sure if I think I went right from there to the auto shop area, the old auto shop area. So it shares the auto shop area with the maintenance department. So back in the day, there used to be auto shop and bump and paint, and so they're in that space. In order to bring Auto One back, which you will in September, you need kind of a unique space. One, it has to have a reinforced concrete floor, and which is expensive. Well, we have one where maintenance is now. You also need auto bay doors, which obviously is there. It has exhaust systems for the cars and all the kind of things that an auto shop needs to have because it was an auto shop. And so it's going to allow us to, by using that space, it allows us to be able to bring that program back at a reasonable cost. But it means we have to displace maintenance. So the plan is to displace wrestling, but maintenance in the old part of auto shop, it's the bump and paint area, where wrestling is. So that works there. It's got auto bay doors. I think there's 3 in that section. It's kind of outfitted for that kind of a thing. Also, we're looking at redoing the big house at the middle school. If you're familiar with that, it's a large room that was added outside the B gym, which is the smaller gym at Pierce. And right now it has maintenance, but it needs some organizing, and so that work will be done. And so maintenance will go there. That leaves no place for wrestling. For next season, wrestling will be in the cafeteria. Possibly they're also looking at the yoga studio outside of the weight room. The problem is that we tried that years ago. It's small, it has glass mirrors on the wall. If you know anything about wrestlers, they're not the gentlest of folks. And so we'll see. But probably they'll end up in the cafeteria. So it'll be a little difficult. They'll have to move tables before practice, roll out their mats, put the mats back, put tables back, those kind of a thing. But so that brings you to your question. I want to give you a little background. So we need to figure out what to do, and so we're working with the architects right now to look at what would be a possibility. And so we did look at adding a space, you know, an addition, which would be ideal because we could put it close to the current gym. But economic, it would cost too much in terms of the dollars that we need to spend. So right now, we're looking at doing it at the end of 600 Hall, if you're familiar with that. That's a short science hall that goes, it runs east and west. Back, you know, as you walk through that corridor.
Thurston or Pierce?
Thurston.
Okay.
That corridor that goes out to Ms. Clayton's classroom and the bus garage in there. So it's a short hallway just before that on your right as you're walking to it. So at the end of that hallway, we would take that space and create a wrestling space there. So it's not next to the gym, but it's an adequate space for the wrestlers to be able to have their program there. So it's not done. We're still working with the architects on a plan to see how that would work. But so that's the initial plan now.
Yeah, because I really haven't heard much about the wrestling. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, you know, let's all send good wishes to our fellow Eagle who's going to be, you know, taking it to mats for us. I think it's in Kalamazoo, the state championship. It's a big, to make it to the state finals is a big deal. It's tough. It's a war to get there, and he's done outstanding. My understanding is that he's going to be taking on a college scholarship too, and wrestling in college. So very proud of him.
Tell us his name, please, Brian.
I'll
Instead of
get
the
to
student?
I will get that to you.
Apparently not.
Because, you know, if he's reached that, I would like to acknowledge, and it's wonderful one of our students
Yeah,
has,
that's
instead
right.
of our student, I'd like to hear his name, please.
As a matter of fact, I'll do a report at our next meeting on how he fares in the state championship.
All right, and the swim team too, as Misha said, that did so well, we heard nothing. You know, we need to focus on some of the positive things that came out of all the negative stuff we've dealt with, so I think we need to acknowledge our swim team too.
Agreed.
Yep.
So no questions?
Sorry, we made you stand there for all of that, huh?
I didn't want to leave in case somebody had a question for me.
I believe there's a resolution.
Yeah, to the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Fletcher, supported by Mrs. Irby. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
To the chair.
Yes.
I just want to say, Linda, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. You did a great job. Thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is consider MASB board elections. South Rapids School Board is an active member of the Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB, in Region 8. This Region 8 has one seat on the MASB Board of Directors up for election for a 3-year term. The board is eligible to cast one vote. Voting in Region 8 will take place by way of online ballot. The online voting window is open until March 2nd, 2022, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The candidates are Melanie Hines, Wayne Westland Community Schools, Darlene Papaneo, Wayne Southgate Community School, and I saw her yesterday. Angie Smith, Farmington Public Schools, and Michael Sawicki, Wyandotte Public Schools. The board discussed their selection of a candidate at this meeting on February 7th. A resolution is attached for board consideration.
To the chair.
Yes.
Would you like us to make a recommendation from the table?
Yes, I would.
I would like to recommend Darlene Pompaneo from Southgate Community Schools. She's the incumbent. We've had a lot of good experience with her, and I think she would continue to do a wonderful job.
Do you have a support?
Support.
Mr. Baker, would you do a roll call, please?
Keisha Early.
Aye.
Stephen Baker, aye. Cheryl Flesher.
Aye.
Lori Hicks.
Aye.
Daniel Winston.
Aye.
Amanda Flesher. Shirley Toliver.
Aye. All 7 of us are in favor for Miss Darlene. Chris, you'll take care of that for us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. All righty. Next item on the agenda is consider technology updates, electronics, and smartphone. SmartNet, Mr. Gaugus.
Thank you, Madam President. At a regular meeting on February 7th, 2022, Mr. Bobrovetsky shared the proposed upgrades to the district's technology infrastructure and informed the board regarding the anticipated costs related to these proposed technology purchases of switches and SmartNet contracts. Bids were solicited and received for the work. The company that submitted the lowest responsible bids for the equipment and work required were Intercomp for network, electronics, and SmartNet contracts for a total of $100,193.10. Madam President, a resolution is attached for board consideration upon recommendation of the superintendent to award the bid to the lowest possible bidder. The recommended total award amount for the technology upgrade, switches, and SmartNet contracts is $100,193.10.
You guys have any questions?
I move it.
Okay. It's been moved by Mrs. Hicks. Do we have a support? Support. Who was that?
Me.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does it matter if there's a spelling error on here?
Yeah, I've caught them.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure Mr. Baker made the corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? 7-0. Resolution passed. Next item on the agenda is consider contract with architectural and engineering firm, Mr. Gaugus.
Thank you, Madam President. At a regular meeting on February 7th, 2022, the board discussed a contract with TMP Architecture for the purpose of managing district architecture and engineering for the bond projects. I'm recommending a partnership with TMP Architecture for the 2021 bond projects. The contract would be funded from the bond program. Madam President, there is a resolution for board consideration.
Okay. Do I have a board member willing to move the adoption?
Madam President, I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution.
Mrs. Early. Do I have a support?
Support.
Mr. Winston. Okay. It's been moved by Mrs. Early and supported by Mr. Winston. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 0. 7 ayes and 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Okay, next item on the agenda is consider contract with construction manager, Mr. Gaugus.
Thank you, Madam President. At a regular meeting on February 7th, 2022, the board discussed renewing a contract with Bart Mallow for the purpose of managing construction for the district. Bard Mala would be compensated through bond funds, and there is a resolution for board consideration.
Do I have a member?
I'll move.
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Hicks and supported by Mr. Winston. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, 0. Resolution passed. Okay, next item on the agenda is comments from the audience, topics not related to the agenda.
There are none.
None. Next item on the agenda is the Plus Delta and board comments. Mrs. Davidson.
Madam President and board, what processes helped tonight's meeting?
Well, I'd like to say that Mrs. Hubbard and the representatives from Adams did a great job, and it's great to see that our teachers has so much dedication to our students in our district.
Other pluses for this evening?
No, but I would agree with Shirley.
And what opportunities for improvement or what processes might we need to change? Make some differences too. Don't.
Smart Delta, if I can have that camera not right there doing presentations, because just looking around it sometimes, so that could be moved somewhere else during presentation time.
Okay.
Actually, during the presentation, shouldn't it be looking at the screen?
I thought it was just looking at Mr. Bobovsky.
No, I think it's actually looking at Shirley.
I think so too.
So it's a photo
I
op or
have
something. I don't know.
a plus, if we could go back for
Absolutely,
a second.
yeah.
I really liked that SREA and SROPA were able to talk at the board meeting.
Any others, pluses or downs?
And I'd like to piggyback on what Cheryl said to Linda. She did a great job, and I took a class yesterday on audits, and I knew exactly what this meant. Okay.
All right.
All right.
That is all, Madam President. Thank you.
If there's no further business that comes before this board, I adjourn this meeting at 8:02. No.